Hey there YouTube lovers, my name is BB8 and today we are going to review Palworld. I'm aware this game's been everywhere on the internet lately, and as a Pokemon fan, I thought I would review it. Because there are aspects I want to talk about in my review, since I do find some of the designs of the Pals to be similar to Pokemon, so I thought Pokemon month might be the right month to review Palworld, so I thought I'll go ahead and do it. So, without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? For the gameplay, in Palworld, players gain control of a customizable character and explore third-person perspectives within an open-world game centered around the Palpagos Islands. To be able to build weapons, structures, and decorations, players need to combine scientific enhancements that can be available through extensive technology tree with survival techniques like avoiding hunger, making tools, harvesting resources, and constructing bases for fast travel. The islands are inhabited by over 100 different types of Pals, which players might battle, weaken, and capture through the use of specialized Pal spheres, which I do think the name Pal spheres may be a bit lazy and doesn't have the ring to it like Pokeballs do. But that's kind of a problem for me, because I'm a big Pokemon fan. So the whole concept of Pal spheres being too similar to Pokeballs, why don't you just come up with something original, like Digimon? Digimon had Digivices. But enough of that. Pal spheres, which can be obtained in several forms, including trading material with other players or purchasing from NPCs. These companions can be utilized during battle or remain at bases to assist with tasks including harvesting materials, crafting tools, and cooking. Each has a specific partner skills which improve flexibility in process of exploring and taming creatures. Players come across a range of factions, such as Pal Genetic Research Unit, the Brothers of Eternal Pyre and Free Pal Alliance, Rain Syndicate, and the Palpagos Island Defense Force. These groups are led by powerful trainers that occupy towers all through the islands and act as primary adversaries. These organizations are portrayed by human NPCs which dynamically exist within the world, monitoring and battling each other and posing dangers to the player, especially if they commit crimes which set up an intended system with Pals wielding guns. The gameplay might seem a bit odd, yet it mixes gameplay from games such as The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Pokemon, Fortnite, Minecraft, and Ark Survival Evolved to develop an experience that isn't usual but is decent. For the story, while Palworld doesn't have a story since it's in alpha at the moment, we're just going to call this section objective for now. Ignore the story part and the timestamps in the description below. We're just going to call it objective. Set on the secluded Palpagos Island, players will find themselves surrounded by a diverse range of creatures known as Pals. These beings are inspired by real-world animals and cultural myths from different regions such as Europe, China, and Egypt. With more than 100 different varieties, PALs possess unique attributes including flame, water, grass, and electric, each with their own strengths and weaknesses, similar to the mechanics of Pokemon. Players will take on the role of an explorer who is stranded on the island after a shipwreck, where survival becomes the most important thing. In order to navigate the perilous terrain, forming alliances with PALs is essential. While the PAL breeding system may not be a new concept, since the game Pokemon Gold and Silver introduced it back in 1999, however, it does add an exciting dynamic to the gameplay, allowing players to create new species by exploring countless combinations. To catch PALs, players would need to weaken them using weapons before deploying spherical devices to capture. Once captured, players can use PALs in battles by commanding them or using them as living firearms, and each PAL has a unique partner skills and abilities, enhancing the immersive experience of exploring Palworld's vibrant ecosystem while adding strategic depths to encounters. For the summary, the gameplay, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. In my opinion, the gameplay is weird, since it has Pokemon-like creatures called PALs wielding guns. But with Pokemon, Fortnite, Breath of the Wild, and Minecraft all put into a blend together, makes for a fairly decent gameplay experience. I wouldn't mind if the Pokemon Company experimented with a Pokemon survival game like Minecraft, Lego Fortnite, or Ark Survival Evolved in the future, because I do think that would make a really fun Pokemon game. For the graphics and the performance, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. The graphics and performance are exceptional, and the visuals are on par with new Pokemon Snap, if not better. For the story, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. While Palworld has no story, it does have lore scattered around the map, but the lore's fine. It's nothing special or complex like Pokemon. For the characters, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. As a Pokemon fan, I can't unsee some of the designs of the PALs, like Robinquill, who looks a lot like Decidueye, who is one of my favourite Pokemon, Wixen, who has a similar design and aesthetic to Delphox, Verdash, who combines Cinderace and Leafeon together, but is green, and Grisbolt, which reminds me of Pikachu, and Totoro from the Studio Ghibli film My Neighbor Totoro, merged together. If both characters were put into a blender together, Grisbolt is what you would get. But unfortunately, some of the PAL designs are comparable to Pokemon, but not all of them. But at least other monster catching games, like there's a new Dragon Quest monster catching game from what I know of, Temtem, and I don't know if this counts as a monster catching game, but at least Invisimals from the PlayStation got original with its monster designs. For the music, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. The soundtrack is fairly decent, since it does remind me a bit of Final Fantasy VII and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 combined. For the difficulty, I'm going to give it a moderate. Palworld offers multiple difficulty options, including a custom difficulty like Minecraft, but through my run, I went moderate. The battles are challenging, but not too hard. The length, I'm going to give it 18 to 30 hours. The length is average. It's not as long as an average Persona or Xenoblade, but the length is fair. The audience, I'm going to give it a 12 plus. After all, this game does have Pokemon-like creatures wielding guns, but I wouldn't consider it a game for little children or anything like that. Because I do think that Palworld is a game that parents could accidentally pick up for their children, mistaking it for Pokemon. And that's where I do think the confusion does come in. I think preteens might be the appropriate audience for this, but little children, no. And for the perk, I'm going to give it the Play Then Sell perk. To be honest, I do not understand the hype for Palworld at all. It's a fine game at best. And as my first game of 2024, besides Forum Stars, which is a new Splatoon copycat from Square Enix, but I'm gonna get to that in a future video. But by the end of 2024, Palworld is probably gonna be halfway on my game ranking for 2024. And overall, I give Palworld a 6 out of 10. In my opinion, Palworld may be a bit overhyped, but does experiment with gimmicks that even the Pokemon franchise hasn't tried out yet. And I am curious if Pokemon ends up borrowing some features from Palworld, minus the guns, at some point in the future. I wouldn't consider Palworld special, really, since I am still a bit upset that this game did have similarities to Pokemon designs. But overall, Palworld was an okay game, but odd. So guys, what did you think of my review of Palworld? Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and turn your notification bell on so you don't miss another video like this one. And I will see you all in a future video. BB8 out.